Michael considered himself a completely grown-up guy. He turned 18 yesterday. In the village, it is clear that no one organized holidays on this occasion. True, his father gave him a watch on a leather strap. For Timoshka, this was the most valuable gift. At night, he jumped up several times and ran to the chest of drawers, picked up the watch, put it to his ear, and closing his eyes, listened to the ticking, tick-tock, tick-tock. Then he would happily go back to bed. This morning, Timoka sat on the rubble and waited for his friends. They were all going to go fishing together. A gaggle of girls ran past. He heard loud laughter. Who laughed so loudly, the guy thought. I looked closer, and it was the neighbor's Anna. For the first time, he noticed her. It seems like she grew up before our eyes. She was always a little girl, and then one summer she turned into a beautiful girl. Michael was completely stunned. It was as if his eyes had been opened. Looks like Ashley's coming. But she became so beautiful that it took her breath away. He couldn't take his eyes off her. Anna, come here. I'll tell you something, Timka called over. The girl was embarrassed, but separated from her friends and still came up. Will you marry me? He asked without any hesitation. Are you a fool or what? I'm still 15 years old, and Ashley blushed but didn't run away. And I'll wait until you grow up, just when I'll have time to join the army. Will you wait? I will, Ashley answered quietly. Will you get married? I'll go, she said seriously, and ran away without waiting for the next question. From that day on, all Michael's thoughts were only about her. Already in the fall, the summons arrived. They were drafted into the Navy for 3 years. Saying goodbye to his relatives at the station, he strictly ordered his mother to keep an eye on Anna. Michael was very afraid that such a girl would be taken away from under his nose. The parents approved the choice. A hard-working girl, she has grown up before our eyes. The family is also good. I'll come back from the army right away and marry her, he told the family. Ashley kept her promise, waited all 3 years for her betrothed, and got it. Timoshka's parents gathered matchmakers and went to match the girl. Ashley's father did not expect this and at first even hesitated. The girl's mother invited everyone into the house and quickly set the table with simple village food. Michael sat silently, his heart sinking, waiting for what the parents of his chosen one would say, but the bride's father did not balk. Even though our daughter is young, I give the go-ahead. Timoshka is the right guy. He will be a worthy husband for her. We agreed to have a wedding after the veil. After the wedding, the young couple stayed to live in the house of Michael's grandmother, who died while the guy was repaying his debt to his homeland. So the house was vacated, but it wasn't empty for long. Young people settled in there. Ashley was given a good dowry: a feather bed, blanket pillows, bed sheets, a towel, and a homespun carpet, 5 more chickens, and 1 goat. After the wedding, Ashley fell more and more in love with her husband every day. Michael was kind, caring, attentive, handsome, and had a good face. All her friends were jealous of her. She got married successfully. They began to wait for their first child. Winter is already over. Ashley was just 7 months pregnant. We decided to go to the mill to grind flour, loaded bags of grain onto the horse, and set off early in the morning. Michael rode the horse and Anna sat next to him. Halfway there, the wife asked her husband to stop. She jumped off the cart and ran into the bushes. A few minutes later, she returned, pale as a wall. "What happened, darling?" Timoka asked in fright, and the young woman pointed to the bushes. She couldn't say anything more. Tears rolled from her eyes. A few minutes later, Michael returned to the cart. "Well, calm down, dear." He stroked his wife's head. "How sensitive are you during pregnancy?" It was also difficult for him to admit that the tormented she-wolf shocked him at the sight. It was not for the faint of heart and certainly not for pregnant women. But next to the she-wolf, Timoka found her cub. The baby whined, cried, and nuzzled. At that moment, The guy couldn't leave him to die in the forest and took him home. Anna didn't mind. As a future mother, she felt sorry for any child, even a wolf one. "It's okay," Michael said. "Let's raise him properly. He'll be more loyal than a dog." A few days later, Ashley went into premature labor. Apparently, the stress from what he saw in the forest took its toll. 2 weeks later, a baby daughter was brought into the house. The wolf cub sniffed the crib curiously and wagged its tail and lay down next to it. Since then, they have been inseparable. Mashenka learns to walk, and the whirlwind pokes her muzzle into her back, helping her take her first steps. As soon as the girl begins to fall and is about to cry, the wolf cub runs up and consoles her, licking her face. Time passed, their friendship grew stronger. Everyone is used to the girl and the wolf being together everywhere. Masha has already gone to school. The wolf followed her around the village with his tail, even to school, accompanied her, then met her, no matter how many lessons there were that day. In some unknown way, he knew when the girl would go home and was already in a hurry to meet her. One summer, my sister came from afar to visit Anna. The presence of a wolf in the yard did not make the relative very happy. She expressed her concerns to her sister for a long time and showed her dissatisfaction. She didn't like animals at all, much less wild ones. The wolf responded in kind when he saw the woman. He bared his teeth and the fur on his withers stood on end. The owners had no choice but to put the whirlwind on a leash. Masha was bored without going out with her friend. Previously, they often walked together around the village and nearby forest clearings. The girl sat at home or in the yard near the wolf and asked God for this nasty ant to leave their house as soon as possible. Ashley's sister was already burdening the whole family with her presence, but the relative was in no hurry to leave. At home, she feels bad alone, but here she feels very good. Fresh air, all the food from the gardens and homemade milk. "Yes, and there are half a village of relatives. Until I get around to everyone, I won't leave," she said. "Autumn has already arrived. Time for berries and mushrooms." Masha and the kids decided to go into the forest to pick mushrooms. Previously, she would have definitely taken the whirlwind with her, but he was currently under house arrest. When Ashley got ready for the evening milking, they realized that her daughter was not at home. She and Michael went around to the neighboring houses. No one had the girl. Then they decided that she was already sitting at home and returned, but Mashenka was not there. They raised the alarm and searched for the girl until it got dark. They ran through the forest, screaming and yelling, all to no avail. Finally, everyone was tired. We returned back to the village, but it was decided to continue the search in the morning. The whirlwind was breaking from its leash all this time. Without thinking twice, Michael untied the wolf and didn't even listen to his sister's indignation. He rushed into the forest like a bullet fired from a gun. Let him run! He knows better where to look for her, and at night he will definitely not harm anyone. Michael answered, dissatisfied with his relative. In the morning, fellow villagers gathered at the house of the girl's parents and were ready to go in search of the child. We discussed the search route and divided into groups. We were just about to head into the forest when suddenly a girl and a wolf appeared at the end of the street. Everyone rushed forward. Masha, dirty and exhausted, stood on her feet, and the wolf, happy, was jumping around his girlfriend. The girl was lying down. It turned out that Mashenka was slightly behind her friends, and on the way home, she fell into an old abandoned well on the outskirts of the village near the ruins of an old cowshed. There was no way she could get out of there. She screamed, called the guys, but no one heard her, and the adults ran into the forest to look for her, but she was very close. Only one wolf managed to find her. He dragged a large, thick branch to the edge of the well, and when Masha began to climb out along it, he grabbed her by the hood with his teeth and forcibly pulled her out of this damp trap. Masha hugged the whirlwind, and in return he licked her hands and face. True friends were now together again. Now the wolf thanked Ashley and Michael for his salvation in the forest. Even the evil relative shed tears at such incredible news and began to respect the wolf. Dear friends, thank you for watching. If you liked this story, like and subscribe to the channel. There are many more interesting things to come.